So let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room. What if the buyer doesn't pay the commission due at closing? Hello, I am Mark Seiden, the team leader and broker for the Mark Seiden Real Estate Team in Westchester County, New York. I have successfully signed buyers to exclusive right to represent agreements, which include a minimum commission obligation since prior to 2010. So there really has not been a lot of discussion about what if the buyer doesn't pay the commission at closing, if the seller isn't paying out the buy side commission. But along with everything else being discussed regarding buyer agreements with brokerages, hey, agents, have you had a real in-depth discussion on what your brokerage is going to do if a buyer doesn't pay the commission at closing? Have you had that conversation? Okay, so first, a disclaimer. I am not an attorney, so I can't give legal advice. I'm a real estate agent. Second disclaimer. I'm based in New York State, so my experience and explanations of law, as I understand it, and processes will be based on New York rules, regulations, and agency law. The laws and regulations of other states and MLSs may or may not apply. All right, so here's the rub on the non-payment of commission. For sellers, statistically, the number who fail to pay out a commission is extremely low, since the seller procures proceeds, meaning cash flow coming in from the transaction to pay out expenses, including commissions. It's much easier to pay out a commission for monies coming in. And for those who have been in the business long enough, before prices went nuts, and especially during the times of lots of potential short sales, listing agents had to perform financial due diligence on the potential sellers to ensure that a certain sales price, after all the seller's financial obligations were paid out, that there was going to be enough cash proceeds for the payment of the commissions. That was pretty common just a few years ago. However, for buyers, there's no money coming in. All the buyers are doing is paying out, paying out, paying out. And for many buyers, there's a limit of cash they have in the bank to do so. So what if all the transaction cash flow computations are not calculated correctly prior to closing? The buyer may actually not have enough cash to pay out the commissions. The money doesn't exist. Or for other buyers that have enough cash, what if they just flat out refuse? Well, number one, don't ask the attorneys, because all they'll say is, well, the buyers have a binding contract. Of course they'll pay. They don't want to be sued. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not that simple. If everyone abided by their contract obligations all the time, there wouldn't be a need for so many lawyers to litigate. So let's just let that one go. Some agents actually suggested that the buy-side broker put a lien on the property prior to the closing to protect the buy-side commission. That can't happen. Why? Because the buyer doesn't own the property yet. How can you put a lien on a seller's home for a potential non-payment of a commission by a buyer who doesn't own the home yet? So we put that one away. Now, are the brokerages going to sue a bunch of buyers and take on that kind of reputation in the marketplace? And also all the legal expenses? Let's break this down. Most seasoned agents are on a pretty significant split with their brokerages. Many may be on 70% splits or higher. So let's do some math. The buyer stiffs the brokerage on a $10,000 commission. The agent's on a 70% split, which means the brokerage gets 30% or $3,000 in this case. The challenge is just starting out to engage in legal action against the buyer. That could easily cost or exceed $3,000 in a very short period. So why will a brokerage be willing to pay out so much in legal fees to collect so little income? Oh, what about those agents who work for brokerages whereby an agent is capped? So what's the incentive for the brokerage to use any monies for legal expenses to procure a commission that the brokerage isn't going to get any money on? What does the brokerage get out of it? And by the way, what if a very affluent purchaser who is an attorney or has an attorney and retainer, honestly is just rich enough that the buyer just doesn't care and decides not to pay and will just take the legal risk just to see what they can get? You know what that creates? a post-closing negotiation opportunity for the buyer where the brokerage and the agents have very little leverage. Have the brokerages thought about this regarding what legal language to include in their buyer brokerage agreements to strategize against this situation? I haven't seen it. So now the brokerages are going to have to create policies regarding stiff commissions with the individual agents, or at least start having conversations. Is the agent going to contribute upfront cash in order to proceed in legal action against the buyer? Are the brokerages just going to take a reduced commission to make this go away before it costs too much? Well, how much will that decrease all the agent's income? Will the brokerages make the agent kick in at a higher percentage of the cost of legal fees in order for the fight to be worth it for the brokerages? Oh, and here's another question. What about brokerages taking credit card payments for the payment of commissions? The brokerages could certainly add on a credit card fee for taking a credit card payment, just like practically every other service industry does today. Couldn't that help with the burden of the immediate closing cash flow for the buyer? How is this all going to work? Is anybody talking about this? I mean, am I the only one? Is no one ready for the potential chaos that could ensue? For more, go to welcometothecommissionrevolution.com or click the link in my bio and watch my informational and bio videos, and please like my videos and subscribe to and share my channel as well. Thank you.